You can see the printer properties will open here. So we are defining inline. So that is inline. This is inline. It is working fine, but we have written the logic inline. And we know the problems. What is the problem with inline? So we cannot reuse. What is the issue? Reusability. Reusability issues. Another one, separation issues. Separation issues are there. Reusability issues are there. These are the problems with inline. So separation means code, design, everything is present at one place. If code, design, everything in one place, extending, reusing will be difficult for that. That is technically problem with inline. So this is an example for how we can use inline. So I click on the print button, then it should open the printer properties and it should display the printer properties. So the same thing we can achieve in another way. Let me copy this. So we are copying this. This is an example. This is inline. In inline, so we are writing JavaScript within the location. Now we have another technique. We can write JavaScript embedded. The second technique, we can write JavaScript embedded. You know already, generally embedded means styles already I told you. You can write JavaScript functions embedded within the page by using we have to use a script element. By using a script element. Generally styles are written by using style. Scripts are written by using script. Now here I told you, if you remembered, where to embed. You can embed in head section, am I right? Or you can embed in body. What is difference? What is difference between embedding in head and body? What is difference? For styles also I told you this point. If you are expecting some functions to load into memory, and from memory they need to be accessed whenever required, then we have to keep in with section head. If you want the functions to execute immediately at the time of loading the page, then you have to define in body. That means you have to decide whether it is in head or body, whether you need to define in the head section or body. These all already we discussed. So such basics we don't need to waste time again discussing, because already we learned. I told you one more trick. We can put outside HTML, but officially we don't recommend this, because outside HTML also it will work. It will be faster, but it will be abnormal in behavior, right? It is abnormal in behavior. Abnormal in behavior means its functionality will change. That is the reason we don't recommend that regularly. We don't recommend this regularly. But you can embed in head section or in body. So another important option is, if you remembered, MIME type for JavaScript. What is the MIME type for JavaScript? What is the MIME type for CSS? I told you na, while embedding we have to define the MIME type. What is the MIME type for CSS? Text/CSS. Here MIME type will be, for script the MIME type you have to define as type is equal to text/JavaScript. That is the MIME type. Whenever you are writing JavaScript, you have to tell the JavaScript type. JavaScript type different are there. So later you will learn about others. Because when you are using JavaScript for different compilers, you have to change this type. Always JavaScript cannot work with text JavaScript. Depending on what kind of system you are using in JavaScript, you have to change the type. Basically, while working with HTML, initially the script type can be JavaScript, or actually the MIME types. Regularly we use the MIME types. Script media type, actually media type, here I will give you some media types. It can be text slash JavaScript, or it can be text slash module, or it can be text slash Babel, and it can be like text slash JSX. These are all the MIME types of JavaScript. So many MIME types will be there for JavaScript. But when you are using JavaScript with HTML, you will come across with these two regularly. Later you will learn modules and all. As of now, initial you have to configure type text as JavaScript. There are so many types. You will learn about those types in later stage. So when you write JavaScript, you can define JavaScript in embedded technique. Script type can be text JavaScript. Or actually, we have another method also. You can write like this, or we have to write script language is equal to JavaScript. But this is a very old technique. This we don't prefer anymore, right? Better use the MIME type. But this also works with HTML. You can use script language as JavaScript, but always prefer using text JavaScript. But it will change according to what kind of system you are using in JavaScript, right? Initially the MIME type of JavaScript is this. So how to write embedded, I will show you here. Suppose I want to write embedded. So to write embedded, we will remove this function from here. We will remove the function from here. And we write the function in the script. In head section, I am using script. In the script, we write by using the keyword function. Later I will explain all this, what is function and all. I am just telling you currently locations, how to write. Okay. Function, what is the function name? Suppose print page, that is the function name. What this function have to do? It should print the current window. That means whenever we call the function called print page, this function have to execute this functionality. And what we can do now, on button click, we will access that print page. That is the function we are accessing. This is called embedded. Embedded means we have to write JavaScript like this. And what is important? MIME type. What is the MIME type? Type is equal to text slash JavaScript. Or you can also use language is equal to language. Language is equal to JavaScript. But this is not required. So currently, better you just use text slash JavaScript. This is one important. So when we are writing JavaScript, so we have this important technique. So JavaScript can be inline, or JavaScript can be embedded. Embedded JavaScript is this, right? Inline JavaScript, you have to write within this button click. Embedded JavaScript, we have to write in a separate function and access. This is example I will give here. So this is the example for embedded JavaScript. I will copy this. And this is embedded. We are configuring JavaScript embedded. So what is the purpose of that embedded? Same, everything is same. You click on print, then it will invoke the printer properties so that we can print the page. It will show the printer properties. We can print the page. So this time JavaScript is not present. It is not present inline. It is present in a separate header section. You can keep in body or header or outside the file. Same like CSS. One additional thing what you learned is how to define the MIME type. MIME type. So another important here is while working with embedded, let me give you these questions. So here the question is, what is the MIME type for JavaScript? That is one question. Another important question in many interviews they ask, like, what is JavaScript strict mode? Strict mode. What is JavaScript strict mode? This is another question. While writing JavaScript, you have to know this point also. What is JavaScript strict mode? Strict mode is nothing but, actually JavaScript have one problem. Means so many technical issues are there. I will tell you now. We will discuss about that. Actually, JavaScript, not only JavaScript, several programming languages have this problem. Problem is nothing but developers have different shortcuts to use. That means different tricks and techniques developers know. Due to that, what happens is one person is using one technique, another person is using another technique, but project is only one. Then it is lot of confusion. We don't want developers to use what techniques they know. We want all developers to uniformly write the same standards. Because if every developer have his own style of writing, then it will be lot of problem in project, because you are not the only person. Hundreds of people in hundreds of teams working on a same project. Then what you know written is later extended by somebody else. Then he need to understand what you are writing. So generally problem with JavaScript is, if you don't follow the standards and write logic without standards, still it works. But it will lead to problems in future. That is the reason we don't want developers to violate the program standards. So they have to write as per standards. Then we ask our developers to turn on strict mode. If strict mode is turned on, then developers cannot violate the standards. They have to write as per standards. For example, I will show you. Suppose, see here, see. I will write a simple script here. I am writing very simple script here. Script. In this script, I am writing some x equal to 10. And just observe, no need to worry concept. So here document dot write, I am printing x equal to plus x. Later you will learn what is document write and all, we will discuss. As of now, my concept is store some value in x and print that value. Now, as per programming standards, if you have to store any value, first you have to declare it. This x is called variable, and variables need to be declared. Without declaring, it is not good to use. Some programming languages don't support this at all, but JavaScript supports. That means in JavaScript, without declaring a variable, you can use it. But as per programming standards, that is not good. But you can see here, it is working fine. That means it is working fine because JavaScript allows. Now one person is declaring variable, another person is writing without declaring variable. That means in one application lot of inconsistency. Then we don't want developers to follow this kind of standards. In that case, better what we do is, even semicolon is also not mandatory. We can ignore semicolons also. Without that also it will be working. Without semicolons, I am not using semicolons, I am writing like 20, right? We are just writing 20. I am not using any semicolon here. Now, without following the standards, you are writing the program. Without following the standards when you are writing the program, and you see here, when we refresh that, that means it is able to access that value and use it. It's not yet saved. Yeah. So you can see that it is able to handle it. There is no problem in this. So this leads to a lot of confusion in programming. We don't want developers to violate all these standards. Then what we do is we ask our developers to write in strict mode. What is the advantage of writing in strict mode is JavaScript will not allow any shortcuts. It will not allow any type of coding which is not as per standards. So that means, now see how to turn on strict mode. So what is strict mode? Strict mode, strict mode will not allow developers to violate the standards. So standards, to violate the standards of coding, violate the standards of coding. So will not allow developers to violate the standards of coding. That means it will reduce code inconsistency. It will reduce code inconsistency. Actually, code consistency, it is nothing but every developer has his own technique of writing code. If every developer has his own technique of writing code, lot of issues will come. Then how to turn on the strict mode? Actually, to turn on strict mode, you have to write the following before any function or statement. Before any function or statement, you have to just write like this: use strict and semicolon. This you have to write. That means anything. That means you have to, better I will say, to turn on strict mode, you have to write the following. So before any function or statement, that means you can say that, so as first line, right? JavaScript first line starts with use strict. It's not compulsory, right? But it is very good to use it. That means we have to define here. We have to write here use strict and semicolon. And very important, JavaScript is case sensitive. Case sensitive means JavaScript capitalization matters. You have to write in the same case how it is defined. It is case sensitive, capitalization matters. That means, for example, use strict, this is lowercase only. So you have to write exactly in the lowercase. Now, if I write use strict here, if I write use strict here, and you can see still I am not declaring this X. So, and you can see now, I will refresh this page. The output is not there. That means it's not working. If JavaScript have any problems, you can verify that in your inspect. You go to inspect. In inspect, all these days while working with HTML, you have seen elements. For JavaScript, you have to go to a category called console. If you go to console, there you will find what errors are there in the JavaScript, right? So what is, I will show you, what is the point here now? That means this logic is wrong. Why this logic is wrong? Because as per the standards, you are not declaring variable. So variable must be declared, then you have to use. But without declaring also it will work. Without declaring variable also it will work. For that, so we have to remove that use strict. If I define strict, then you can see here in this, you go to console category. In the console category, it will show that problem saying that X is not defined. That means as per the standards, X need to be defined. Now what we have to do as a developer, first we have to declare X. Later you will learn variables and all. How to declare variables, this all we will learn. Just now I am showing that I am satisfying that, I am declaring that. And if I declare, now there is no problem, it will work. That means as per the program standards, you have to write. Even without this also it will work if JavaScript is not in strict mode. So this is technically very simple point, right? But this is very important. Almost in every interview, they ask this for a fresher level. Like what is JavaScript strict mode and why we need JavaScript strict mode. Without strict mode of JavaScript also you can write. But the problems is it will allow to violate the standards and write in your own shortcuts. That leads to a lot of code inconsistency. To overcome that, we have to ask the developers to write in strict mode, right? So that means what we have to do syntactically, when you are writing script type is equal to text / JavaScript, and here we have to define use strict semicolon. And after that, suppose I am writing X equal to 10, document dot write X equal to whatever the value of X plus X. This is the general program actually. I will keep as strict. Now this is invalid. It will return invalid. Why invalid? X not defined. That is invalid. It shows that X is not defined. X is not defined. Now here you have another option. So if I have to make it possible, then I have to use the same thing. Just we have to declare. So var X, then it is okay. Now it is valid. Now we don't have any problem. That is valid. So, or there is another option. If you don't define strict mode, another syntax I will give here. I remove the strict mode. If I remove the strict mode, then this is valid. This is valid. But not good. This is not good. This is called bad coding. Right? I already told you, na, we have good coding, bad coding in programming. So if it is bad coding means it is not as per the standards. You will not face problem initially, but later application will face problem in different occasions. So we should not take any chance. That is one point. So when you are writing the script embedded, see 2 points you learned. One is what is the MIME type and how to write the MIME type. Another, what is strict mode and how to define strict mode. Now another important point is another question here regularly comes is, means the major question about this is how to target JavaScript, JavaScript for legacy browsers, for legacy browsers. This is another question. This is another question asked for very extreme experienced people. Many people don't know this. Even experienced people also, so many people don't have awareness on this. People who are using JavaScript from more than 15, 20 years, they know this. People who recently learned JavaScript 5, 8, 10 years back also, they don't know this legacy. But this is the habit of very old, but still people continue this. In various occasions, we need this. Legacy means old version browsers. The problem is now we have modern browsers. In modern browsers, we have modern JavaScript. That modern JavaScript unable to run on old versions of JavaScript. That is the reason you might have seen Internet Explorer like browsers are gone now, removed completely. The point here is legacy browsers must able to run your JavaScript smoothly. If you write advanced, it should convert that into old style and write. That means a browser must able to translate the advanced JavaScript into, means new functions of JavaScript into old. For example, actually, suppose we have a JavaScript, newly we have 2 *3. This is nothing but 2 to the power of 3. It will be 8. This is new actually. We don't have double asterisk earlier. Earlier in old versions, we have to write math.pow. Math.pow, we have to write the 2, 3. That means 2 to the power of 3. It will return same. This, the new version browsers can understand. This old version browser can understand. If you write like this, then old version browser, what it will do is, with the help of translator, it will translate this into math.pow. And it will execute that result with this function. So, but the question is how to tell the browser that this is new version code, you translate into old version. That is the point. How to tell the browser, how to target JavaScript for old version browsers. We have an habit of writing like this. You can see that. So when you are writing JavaScript here, we have to put this entire JavaScript in HTML comments. We have HTML comments. HTML comments are written like this: angle bracket, exclamation, double hyphen. This is HTML comment. That means whatever you write inside it is an HTML comment. We write like this. This is HTML comment. In HTML comment, we are writing this. I am changing the value, something like I am changing the value as 30. I defined like this. Now, very important, we are writing this in HTML comments. We are defining in HTML comments. When you are writing in HTML comments, actually, you see here in the result, so it displays 30. Now, the question here is, why you are writing in HTML comment and still it is working? Right? What is the purpose of this? This indicates that this code is having some new features. And this block tells the parser. Parser is translator. It tells the translator that some new options are coming. You translate them into old. That means what that parser will do, translator will do, identify some new things of JavaScript. It will convert into reasonable old version and it will execute. These days we don't have this problem because old version legacy browsers we removed completely. We removed old versions and we are warning the users that don't use them anymore because our websites will not suit on them. We strictly do that. That means whenever any JavaScript is used, suppose bank applications, anything you can observe, every website will show clean warning that this website will run only on the Internet Explorer 11 higher, or it is Chrome 11 higher. Percent other features will not work at all. That means you can't complain that this website is not working because already they warned that it will not work. You have to use advanced. That is the reason now many people don't know this at all, and you will see very rarely anywhere in websites also somebody given it. If you see any HTML JavaScript tutorial 20 years back, 10 years, 15 years back published tutorial, such tutorials have these examples. In such websites you will see examples of JavaScript written in exclamation. Then many people in the modern generation, even experienced people, don't know, because we see regularly experienced people, they say that they are experienced but they don't know all this, because we see regularly Angular, React batches, people come na, we ask what is this, they say don't know. Who are you? I am a web developer. How many years? 8 years I am working. Where? MNC. But he don't know. He don't know. Many people very poor that they don't even know what is strict mode. That is not good. These are very basics of JavaScript. That means at the beginning of JavaScript we learn about this actually, and you still don't know how to handle, because for experienced people these are issues. Means experienced people should write the logic in such a way that it runs on every browser smoothly, and it should warn the user that you need this, otherwise it will not work. That is the important part. As a fresher you will just write the logic, but experienced people write for performance. So functionality is important, performance also important. So for that we need this technique. This is very rarely seen, but these days you don't need to use it, but still it is important to understand, because some projects, some applications will be using it, because old projects will be there, so still they are maybe using this. As an experienced person you might have to work with existing projects, old version, they don't upgrade to new, right? So old projects, suppose you see government websites and all, they are still very old version softwares, right? In that case they don't update. Then if you have your company is supporting government websites, then you have to know those old features, all of them, because they are still using that version. In such cases you will see this kind of code. How to target JavaScript for legacy? By writing the JavaScript code in HTML comments. In HTML comments, HTML comments are written like this actually. Comments, this is HTML comments. Example is this, how we write. So while working with JavaScript, so few important things you need to know. This is embedded. Okay, in embedded what are the points? How to embed? By using script. Second, what is the MIME type when you are embedding? So text, JavaScript. Third, what is strict mode? So why we need strict mode? So that it will reduce the inconsistency in coding. And third, how you can write the script targeting legacy browsers by enclosing this in the comments, right? That is embedded technique, how we can write embedded. Next important, so we have third, that is external file. Already you know, same like CSS here, right? External file means, so JavaScript logic, JavaScript functions are written, JavaScript functions are written in a separate in a separate file that have extension. JavaScript files will have extension .js, and you have to link script files by using script element only. Element. This already we know. Already we learned so many script files now. Bootstrap JS, that is a JavaScript file. Bootstrap bundle JS. So script files are defined by using script element. What is good and bad already we know. What is good, you can access across pages, right? What is bad, it increases the number of requests. It increases the number of requests and page load time. These basics are same. So how to maintain in a separate page? So what we have to do is, so suppose I am writing here simply doc type. I will just keep here external file. So here I will keep demo, and I want to put a button here as print, and here we have a heading, click print button to print page, and I want all the logic to come from separate file. Then we will go and we will add a new file, and the file name is some printing.js. Any name you can give, extension must be JS. Here as per the rules, what I am doing, use strict. It is the first line that we have to follow. After that we are writing a function called print page. What this function have to do, window.print. It will print the current window. Okay, next step what we have to do is, we go to the page. Here we have to link that file. How script files are linked already we know. Script source is equal to dot slash, what is it, printing.js. Now in that we have a function. What is the function name? We have a function print page. When button is clicked, what we can do, on click, we can access that print page function. So this function is not present in the same page. It is coming from another file. This is external pages. So external files. You know the advantages and drawbacks of this. Already we know. What is advantage? What is the drawback of this? Already we know. If you are using external file, number of requests will increase. But advantage is it will work everywhere. It is working fine. Right? You can access and use from any page. You can use from any page. So example is this. First point, we have to add a new file, that is printing.js. In that printing.js, we are writing just a function. This is printing.js. So another option, second, we have some demo.html. In the demo.html, we need to add this one. We need to configure this and define in demo.html. That is the option. This is how we can configure the functions, right? That is the example for external style sheet. And here so many questions, and you know the answers also. The question is, what is minification? Already you know the answer, na? What is minification? So minification is, it reduces the size, just like how you minified CSS. JavaScript also same. That means JavaScript also have same. That means online you can go, you can search for JS minifier. You can copy your JavaScript code. That JavaScript code will be compressing. So, and you can use the compressed file. Already we learned. No need to show, you can try. Go online, JS minifiers will be there. You can copy your code, same, come back here, you create min.js. right? And use the minified file, same like CSS. It is the process of compressing JavaScript file. It is JavaScript here. Previously we used for CSS. That means we will have printing.min.js. That is the minified file, printing.min.js. That's how we can define. This is basically minification, and you already know the answer also. So when to use minified files, you know the meaning. Remember, na? Uncompressed files, uncompressed files are used for development, na? Development, and minified files are used in production. Remember the what is production? Production means it is going live, right? When application goes live, that is production. On production, what we have to do? We have to use the minified files. So this concept is same. There is no difference in that. The concept is same, right? Same like how you used the CSS files, here also same. So there are three techniques of handling JavaScript in HTML. What are those? We can use JavaScript inline, we can use JavaScript embedded, and we can use JavaScript in external file, right? All three techniques. Don't worry about what is function, what is on click. I will tell you, we will learn about that. Our main intention is first to understand where to keep them, how they are written, right? Those are the three important points. Now, very important, some more concepts you need. That means before going into this, what are the issues? What are the issues with JavaScript? What are the issues with the JavaScript? Another important, what are the issues? Means drawbacks. What are the drawbacks of JavaScript? What are the problems with JavaScript is? So many important basic issues I will take here. One is, first important problem is JavaScript is explicitly strictly typed. Explicitly strictly typed means, what is the meaning of this? Already I told you. Suppose you are learning C, C++, Java, .NET, they are implicitly strictly typed. Implicitly strictly typed means, I told you that in other programming languages, without declaring a variable, you try to use a variable, immediately they show error. That means internally they are strictly typed. So, but JavaScript is not like that. You have to turn on. If you turn off the strict mode, then it will allow others. Only when you explicitly turn on, then only it will verify. That means code inconsistency will be verified only when you manually turn on it. If you don't do that, then by default it will allow. So other programming languages are implicitly typed, but this is explicitly typed. That is one problem. Another important is JavaScript is not strongly typed. It is not strongly typed. This is also an issue. Not strongly typed. Strongly typed means, for example, if x equal to 10, that means actually x is number. Now into that I can store an alphabet. This becomes, x becomes a string now. That means you don't have any restriction. You want, suppose age, you want age. In that if I store suppose 2a, it's okay, valid. It is valid. That means it is valid. It will allow. But it should not allow. I want it number, only to handle number. I don't want it to handle others. No chance. There is no chance. For that, you have to write logic extra. This is very much not satisfying because these days everywhere we need strongly type. But JavaScript is not strongly typed. That means you have to write logic for this. It is not strongly typed. So JavaScript is not internally strict. JavaScript is explicitly strict. And JavaScript is not strongly typed. Another important is JavaScript will not support complete object oriented programming. So you should know this point very well. JavaScript is not an OOP language. It is not an OOP language. But in JavaScript, some OOP features will work, but not all. That is the reason in JavaScript, you will learn some topics of OOPs, but JavaScript is not a OOP language. You should never say that JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language. It is not an object-oriented programming language, but it supports some features of OOPs. If it supports some features of OOPs and not all features, then security issues will be there. Security issues, code level security issues will be there. Extensibility issues will be there. Extending code will be difficult if complete OOP is not supported. And if complete OOP is not supported, then so you have security issues also, code level security issues. These are all the basic problems of JavaScript. And very important, JavaScript depends on lot of DOM manipulations, lot of coding. So it is heavy on applications. Hundreds of lines of code you have to write. You will see that in the next session itself. You will feel it. You write 200 lines for achieving a functionality. That is your first JavaScript program. That means to design a complex example, then thousands of lines you have to write. If you ask, is there any shortcut? That is the best possible shortcut I have showed you in class. Right? Is there any shortcut? Any other technology you have to use. JavaScript, no shortcut. Whatever shortcut is there, that you will learn. That means you have to go with jQuery. Another important problem here is explicitly handle compatibilities, browser compatibility. That means browser compatibility issues you have to handle explicitly. You have to handle browser compatibility. That means you have to verify which browser he is using. According to that, you have to send the code. Right? If he is using some browser which is not suitable for this code, then tell him that please update your browser. That means internally it will not do. You have to write. That means code will not adopt according to browser. You have to write manually. Just like if you remembered CSS transitions, I told you, we need plugins, WebKit. We learned WebKit, MOZ, Opera. We have to write those plugins. Similarly, in JavaScript also, you have to manually write. These are all the problems with JavaScript, but this is only the language browser can understand. That is the reason modern developers, what is the solution is? Modern developers are using a language called TypeScript. TypeScript is the solution for all these problems. That is the reason the modern future is TypeScript. But TypeScript is not understandable to browser. So it is same like SAS. SAS is not understandable to browser. But developers will use SAS to overcome the problems of CSS. So that means same. So we use TypeScript. TypeScript is not understandable to browser. That is translated into JavaScript. So that is the reason every web developer must know JavaScript, but he will not use JavaScript directly. That means in any web project, you will never use JavaScript directly. You will use jQuery, Angular, React like technologies only in real time. In real time, 80% all projects are jQuery. Others, React, Angular, Vue, Backbone like technologies. That means you will never use JavaScript directly in real time projects. But your interview will be on JavaScript only. So, and your program testing will be in JavaScript only. That means if they have to conduct a practical test, they have to conduct on JavaScript only. But in real time project, they will be using jQuery. So because this is the language required for jQuery and others. What is jQuery? Later you will see. But these are the major issues with JavaScript. JavaScript is explicitly strictly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. It will not support OOP features. It is hard for extending and all these things. These are all the technical problems that we face with JavaScript. But we have to learn JavaScript as a language for web development. Now the point is, so this is clear, means how JavaScript can be used in HTML. Now as a programming language, now another important, this is what you learned in CSS. In CSS, how CSS takes control over HTML. How CSS takes control over any HTML element and applies effects on it. Understood question? Eh? How CSS take controls over any HTML element and applies effects on it. Selectors. No? That means how CSS will take control over HTML. For there is a heading, I want to apply for effects for heading. What to do? We need a selector. If you are writing inline, that's okay. But if you are writing embedded or external file, you need selectors. In the same way, how JavaScript takes control over HTML. That means how JavaScript takes a heading and this can change heading. How JavaScript can take an image and can change image. How JavaScript will take control over HTML. This is very important. That means the next major point here is how JavaScript takes control over HTML elements. How it will take control over HTML elements. This is very important. There are so many techniques. Just like you have different types of selectors, ID selector, class selector, type selectors, descendant selectors, JavaScript also same. Actually, JavaScript can take control over HTML elements by using various reference methods. There are various reference methods. So many reference methods are there. The first one is DOM hierarchy. The first important by using DOM hierarchy. By using DOM hierarchy, it can take control. DOM hierarchy, I will show you. Actually, suppose, let's clean up this here. I'm creating a simple container. In this, I have a image. So image width is 100, height also 100, and some border as 1. Okay. And go to the body, another div. We have a form. In that we have a heading. This is register. And we have input type as text. Suppose I said username, and input type is equal to text. And beside it, we have input type is equal to button. Later we will see others. Huh? Now, very important, this is register form. Okay. Now copy another. This is login form. In this I just given as some email. Okay, so input type is equal to some email and button. Now in this page you can see so many are there in the page. In this page you can see there is an image, there is a buttons, forms, buttons, text box. Now I will write here body on load, that I will write a function called body load. I will write a function here, script function is body load. Remember, this name can be anything, whatever you want you can give. I'm just giving body load. On load is a reserved word. You have to write exactly like this, on load. This indicates when body loads, it will execute this function. What this function have to do is, I want to put some image here. I want JavaScript to take control of that IMG and put some image into it. How it will take control of that image? By using DOM hierarchy. As I told you, we can use the DOM hierarchy. DOM hierarchy, actually, this is the JavaScript DOM. In the JavaScript DOM hierarchy, you can see this is the hierarchy of DOM. Now in this, observe carefully. In this, observe carefully the order. The parent is window. In the window we have a document. In the document we have, you see, images. So where is images? The order of images, you see, images is present, parent is window. In window we have document. In document we have images. In document directly we have images. This diagram I will send you. Right now the point is, let's write that logic. What is it? Window, that order. In window we have images, document. In document we have images. Images is an array. Array means collection. And we can access the collection using index number. Index number starts with 0. How many images are currently here? In the page, how many images are there? 1. Its index is 0. So this is an image. Image means it will have an attribute src. Dot src is equal to dot slash public slash assets slash. Suppose we have shoe.jpg. This I am applying. Then this have to apply there. By using DOM hierarchy, you are applying that. This is DOM hierarchy. Now see, I want to put some value. I want to put some value in this button, register. Then now the question is how we can access it, right? How do we access that and how we can use it? One second. Okay, so now see here, according to this DOM hierarchy, now tell me what is the location of button. According to the DOM hierarchy, what is the location of button? We have window. In that window we have document. In document we have forms. In forms we have elements. In elements all are there. Button is not first. It is just alphabetically written. All comes under which category? Elements. Okay, now right here, window. In window, document. In that, forms. How many forms are there? In our page, 2 forms are there. The register form comes under which index? 0. Okay. In that we have elements. How many elements are there in that form? Form elements. Form elements means we have two. One text box, another button. Button index how much? At 0 text box, at 1 button. That means it is 1. At their button. In button, if you want to show something, we have to use value. Button value is equal to I given as register. Now you can see it will keep that value there. That's how we use. Now how to apply some login word into this? We have to do the same. So window dot document dot forms, forms of 1, in that elements of 1 dot value. What is it? Login. That's how we need to refer. It will get. But this is not great. Why? Because later if I change the position of button from here, so before the text box, now you can see, because index number changed, you have to change the index number in the logic every time. See, pages are not standard. You will be adding new things in between, removing something. Then whenever the position changes, you have to update the logic also again. So this is not great. You can change. What you have to do, again, you have to put it as 0. Then you can see it will get it. If you change the position again, then automatically every time when you change the position, you have to update that in the logic. That means here I need to set it to 1 again. I need to set it to 1. Then it will be fine. But this is good if you are trying to access all elements in a sequential order. Generally for testing, generally for performing, we call performance. For handling the performance, we read all elements at a time. In that case, this will be better because through index number, you can easily access. Remember, this is the fastest way in JavaScript, because JavaScript can understand this better than anything else. But this is not good for developers every time. Why? Because whenever index changes, again, I need to change this. This is risky. But this is one technique, how you can access by using DOM hierarchy. Now, what is the solution? We can use IDs, you can use classes, you can use other references. That we'll see tomorrow, right? We'll see all other techniques, how to handle JavaScript. So same like selectors. How you learned about selectors in CSS, these are same, right? Tomorrow we'll see how we can handle them, right?